Hi, Facebook, Smart Cookies, YouTube, LinkedIn. You're all here. Please say hello if you're here. Hey, Miss Rachel, Creative Coaching Services. Hey, a double hey. I like it. I am gonna pull up really quickly before we jump into today's topic, just a little bit of today's quote, just a little something soft that I thought you might appreciate from me. I always like to give a little something small, little known fact. I like before I go out live to take a couple breaths, and then I like to get some energy up too. So there might be some jumping involved. Okay, I won't give all my secret sauce away, but there might be some jumping. How many of you go live in your business? What do you do right before you go live? Because doing so was more important than having everything ready. So today we're going to talk about the number 2 metric that you need to be tracking. You want to be tracking. You ought to be tracking. I don't want to say should, because we shouldn't should all over ourselves. We shouldn't. Anyway, you get it, right? Tell me if you get it. Tell me you can see me. Tell me you can hear me. Cool. Okay. I see there is another human here with me. Good. So we're going to talk about that, because if there is one metric that I want you to track, I talked about that last week, but if there is one metric that there's like this shame around, that people are like, you want me to know this, I know you do, or I should know this, but I don't, or I'm really bad at it. But I'm going to tell you why it is it's so freeing. It's so freeing when you can have just a couple numbers that you can carry around with you. It's not just freeing, I want you to be free as a bird. It's like freeing, you are in charge here. This is your business. It's your rules. And when you know these numbers, you start to create levers in your business. How many of you want a business that operates like, God bless you if you're in a part of the world that has this, that has a water faucet that can just turn on and off? How many of you want that for your business? So let's start off before I go into it, which is a little bit of mindset. So this one, I don't even know. Let's see. Oh my gosh. So this isn't attributed to somebody, but to a website called IHatedMyBoss.com. Don't ask me why I know about this site, but IHatedMyBoss.com. I did not create that site. Don't worry. But it says, if you don't take risks, you will always work for someone who does. If you don't take risks, you'll always work for someone who does. Let's just let that settle in for a second. So you've got to take risks, because guess what? Other people work for you, and your job as an entrepreneur, business owner, service provider is to create jobs, is to create work for others. So if you're here, tell me you're here. I have this delicate balance. Oh, Krista Meyer would like to be free as a bird. I was gonna say I have this delicate balance when Instagram, you're here with me because I want you here with me. But if you saw the tripod situation, you would send me one. Whoever does tripod situations, you would just be like, let me get you one before that falls over. So yes, hi, Kristen's here, Rachel's here. So much gratitude for both of you being here with me today. Thank you so much. And I'm excited to share with you the number 2 metric. So here we go. Tell me what you think it is, Kristen. Do you have any guesses? Last time you guessed, I feel like Rachel definitely has a handle on what today's is. But Kristen, if you have a guess, give me a guess. And then I'm going to give a couple hints. This one, like last week, it is still really, really simple. You should be afraid. So it's still really, really simple. This, I'm not bringing out pivot tables to help you figure it out. And no, this is still really, really simple. And many of you tell me you have a gut check. Okay. It also informs you about ... a few things. It's very informative. It's telling you something all of the time. And I think that's the beauty of the last one. So it is real time, that it can tell you and inform you something. But the best part is you can get some gold stars, or in this case, black Sharpie stars, because it can be improved. In real time, it can be improved. No, once one passes, that one metric moves, it can't, that one's done. But it's not lost. It can still be improved. So you do need gold stars. Okay, I'm ready to give you some. So your people in your pipeline, that's your guess. Okay, I'm sure it's not. No, it's not your P&L. We're trying to keep it real. Those things I want dynamically tracked for you. More on that to come. But the simple second metric I have for you, and the one that will tell you a lot that's going on, let me grab my other notes for myself, is your sales conversion rate. How in the world is she going to make me do a little bit of algebra on the call? I mean, not so much. It's just a little bit of math, maybe 3rd grade, 5th grade. I don't know what grade. I want you to tell me, where do you get, so we talked last week about no, I don't want to tell you what we talked about. Last week, we talked about something above the funnel, right? Okay. You have to go back and watch last week if you weren't here last week. Okay, so we talked about something like above the funnel, not exactly inside the sales funnel. And this time I want you to tell me, where are you getting that first sign of buyer intent? What do I mean? I mean, it's like the first time they put their hand up. It's not the, hey, we should go to coffee sometime. Let's have a chat and let's have lunch. No, I'm talking the first time they said, do you have a pricing page? Is there a place I can sign up? Do you have a calendar link? Can you send me a proposal, an invoice? Tell me where in the world, that was Mike's guess last. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Small distraction. So tell me, where in the world do people give their first inkling that they are ready to buy? Rachel, I know you have one. So tell me, and I love that you felt that that other quote was really true, right? That's so good. Tell me, and you too, Kristen. I'm guessing Kristen is probably the first time someone raises their hand and really shows intent is probably when they're like, hey, can you price this for me? That's probably the first time. Kristen is in manufacturing. She makes shutters. I feel like we are her second arm to shout her out every once in a while, but she's this really big made in America product that has logistics issues and others. So anytime I love to bring her up, it makes some of you service providers be like, oh, well, at least I don't have to ship 300 pounds of something across the country. So, okay. Yeah. Price. So you asked for price. So a lot of people ask for price. So Rachel and I were on a call earlier chatting about whether or not this is the right next metric to share and introduce. And she said that her people ask, she says, well, is it affordable? Is something that they ask her. And she's like, basically they're asking for price, and they're asking for price. So then you are taking an action to give them price. Kristen's case, even in ours, in some cases, I mean, some of our stuff is just like one and done. Like here, it's a VIP day. There's the price. It's on the pricing. It's on the homepage. But I know Rachel, it sounded like she has like 3 offers. One of our other clients that we're getting ready to do some work with, she has a couple different offers, and like some can be bundles and some can't. So somewhere they're saying, what's it going to cost me? And you're giving them a link or a proposal, maybe an invoice. So Kristen, do you do a proposal that can convert to an invoice, or do you do an invoice? What happens with you? Tell me, let me know in the comments. So that situation, whatever that is, I want you to track that number. Like that right there should go in a box somewhere, just a boring Excel or Google Doc, my preferred. Yeah, people still ask. I think people still ask. So Rachel's saying what's interesting is a lot of her prices are on the website, but people still ask. So either A, they feel like they have to dig a little bit, or B, they just figure they're not on there anyhow. Like I wrongly assume, because I'm one of the few that I find put prices on websites. And so it's funny you say that, because I feel like I'm one that's like, it's probably not there. I'm not going to go look. So if they have your attention, they're like, I'm just going to keep her attention. So that's really interesting. So there's something you did. So it's something you gave. So it's either an invoice or proposal. So we do proposals, or sometimes we just do direct invoices if someone's like, yeah, I'm moving forward. Okay. So that's what we do. So we want to track those, and that could be done in QuickBooks, right? The number that went out, unless you're voiding them, then that's sticky. Don't void them for this metric, or at least don't void them for the month. Like you can do at the end of the month to clean up your books for next month, but at least you would have a handle on what that number is. Sometimes if I have to void them, I will actually create a PDF so that I can go back and have a good handle. Okay, it was 20. Okay, cool. It was 20. And then, so that's the first part. Like, okay, Nicole, that's pretty simple. I can do that. I can tell you how many times I've sent out my calendar link to people who are ready to book a day, right? Okay, cool. Well, then I want you to tell me how many of those people, of those 20, bought. What's that number? Let me have a good handle of like last week's or last month's number. So let's see, Kristen says, we usually have a bit of conversation. Absolutely. We do too. I need to ask them info 9 times out of 10. Same here. I mean, are they on Facebook? Have they done ads? Do they have an ad account? You know, do they know what social media is in some cases? How much have they done? Yours, I'm sure, will be measurements and style and location and quantity and materials for you too, right? We want to know things from other people, like, do you have a website? Do you not? If we're going to run ads to that or not, which is a whole nother animal. Do they have a CRM? Do they have a nurturing series? What do we have to like zap over? So yeah, there's always conversation, but the buyer's intent though is like when they say I'm ready for price, do you give them an invoice, or are you just like verbally giving a range? That's what I want you to track in the first part. The second part is really easy too, because it just is what converted. But I want you to do the number of. So I don't want dollars and cents necessarily in this metric. I just want those conversations. So let's say you put out 20 things, or maybe you just put out 4 things. But whatever that number is, if you sold half, that conversion rate is 50%. If you sold, only two, it's 2 out of 10, we're talking a 20% conversion rate. The only way that from there is up. Kristen also shares she has them listed in Trello. Yeah, so you can probably go back. So you can count them up quickly and you could see. Some of you are in high referral situations. Like there's, I love working with referral networks or referral sources, people who work with people I want to work with. It's really easy, like make a couple great relationships and then they refer business in, right? So in that case, your conversion rate for just referrals, you could break it apart. Like, well, of the 20, 10 of them came from so-and-so. And man, I closed 9 out of 10 of those. Like that was my business to lose. All I had to do was show up, deliver, answer those questions, look semi-coherent. And that was my money on the table. But then you could look at the overall, like, okay, referrals added into everything. But I love separating it out. Usually if you have referral-based leads coming in, yeah, you should see a 60, 66%, 67% conversion ratio. If you're not, there's room for improvement for sure. But either way, so I was telling you, it informs something. So what does it inform? So of those 20, it's informing that those are good leads or bad. So I could tell you that there have been past advertisers I have known that would buy a bulk of leads, sometimes from India, for clients in the US. And guess what? They would give them hundreds of leads. Well, you got hundreds of leads, they would tell them. I can think of one software company right now. And they're like, yeah, but we didn't close any. So they weren't qualified. They weren't quality leads. They were volume, but they weren't good intent. And so it doesn't matter the number, except that it's informing you how quality the traffic that's coming in, whatever they're seeing about you, the influence that referral source has over them is strong or weak. Maybe your mom's referring in someone to you all the time, but she's just doing it and she doesn't really know who to refer to you, right? I remember I was in one of those networking groups years ago when I owned a roofing business. Yes, I said roofing, like up on a roof. That's, one of my first businesses. And one of those networking groups, like it had like a hair salon and spa, and it had, I don't know, it didn't have anybody like at our ticket. So the hair salon and spa, while they're expensive, they had like $200 or $400 worth of influence over their clients. And they were relaxing. So they weren't going to be talking to them about the recent hailstorm and how they needed to hire us for their new roof that, got destroyed in a recent storm or something. So you want to look at what is that informing? It's telling you about the traffic. It's telling you about the traffic source, if it's good leads that are coming in, if they're just high volume, or if they're good intent. So it's telling you something there, and it's informing whether you keep that going. Those are good leads or not. Or it's telling you how fast of a buyer they are or they're not. Because I told you the last one is it can be improved. So this month it might be 20 and you only sold 10. Yes, exactly. Are you relaxed? Do you have holes in your roof? I know someone for you. She might make you giggle. Okay. So the reason why I say it can be improved, because if you showed off to 20 people your pricing, your invoicing, your calendar link, and 10 bought right now, 10 of them might be holding back. Let's say you're a photographer. It's the start of the new year. People are distracted and busy. And they're also carrying 10 pounds of extra holiday weight. They're not ready sometimes to run into your studio because they're like, I'm going to get back to the gym. Whether they do or not, they realize you can help them pose really well to look a little leaner. But my point is that out of 10 next month, those 10 could come back and then affect your next month's conversion rate. So that's what I'm saying. It can always be improved, not just because maybe you introduce a really cool PowerPoint Canva slide deck. We talked about that recently too. Not just because you can do better and you can stay in momentum and you can close better, but I'm saying it can improve because it's a fluid number. And as it changes, you'll start to see, oh, okay, there's some seasonality to my conversion rate. Or the information you might be getting is who's doing the selling. So maybe it's only you. Maybe you have a team. Maybe you have somebody who's new. Maybe you have somebody who's really stressed out. That entire month, they just were distracted and really busy. And it would give you, as a business owner, time to be like, okay, she's usually at a 60% close rate, and suddenly she's dropped to 25. I should probably check in. I should check in with what the traffic source is. I should check in with the influence that the referring source has for us. But I should probably just go check in on her and make sure, like, you good? Are you good? Is your left eye twitching? Like, are you that stressed out? You hear me? Yeah, got it. Okay. So that's it. That's number 2. So many of you, I recently sent out a small little survey to many of you that hang out with me here, especially I definitely sent it Rachel, did I send it to you? That's a good question. I meant to send it to Rachel directly, but also I sent it to Kristen. And one of the questions was, do you know, or what is your conversion rate? And many of you had come back and were like, you're going to be mad at me, or I don't want to tell you, or I should know it, or how do I get to it? And so this is the answer to that. It is simple. It is easy to ignore it, but it is something that you can control. And let's face it, how many of us just want to say we are in charge of our own destiny? Because that's certainly what I'm about as a business owner. I want to say I get to call the shots. So, okay, what is, let's see, questions from Kristen is, how do you count long-term conversions? So yeah, so that's just it, right? So you have a unique seasonality in your business because, oh, hey, look who's here. Bree's here. Okay, a few others. You have seasonality in your business, meaning, so she's in construction, right? So there could be ebbs and flows to seasons, of course, to builders. I mean, shoot, what happened the last couple of years, any building prices that change, like she feels all those effects. So in the long term, you want to be able to track what happened this month. Like, how are we doing? How are we staying on track? Or, you can even do it weekly, but certainly this month. And then if you know the average time of your sales cycle, that's what you really want to do it by, right? So in a sales funnel, we always have various people. Either somebody is up top and they're just becoming aware of the problem and you as a solution. So then it's time for you to nurture them and take them kind of on, maybe it's a 6-month journey before they buy and they commit. Or maybe someone lost their vendor, right? And they're waiting with 300 orders, just like they're like, where is this going to go? This needs to go to somebody. And so they're closer to a buying decision. So at any time in a funnel, when we're out there advertising to brand new audiences, just, organically or paid or earned media, however you're trying to get your name out there, at any time you have buyers at different paces. Imagine a marathon that's open to all ages, right? Like all ages, all sizes, from my little guy trying to run his first, 5K to, right? Actually, my little guy hasn't tried it. He would like to, but my kid's sister, when she was little like him, she did. And imagine she's going to cross the finish line a little later than maybe somebody older. However, she had a coach, not me. I was not running next to her. But like her coach stayed with her the whole time. So you'll have people at different stages. So I think it's important to know what is the average cycle for your people and then track it by that. So track it monthly and then track it by whatever that number is. Does that make sense? You have an example. For example, I just got an email from someone I spoke to in July saying she's ready to move forward. Right. This is why I'm saying it can always be improved. Like that number always gets better. And you could either go back and look at that number, but what's informing you though at all times is no matter how many people you have in the hopper, if it's a 50% close ratio, is that staying pretty consistent or do you hit your highs and lows? And then what can you do about it? Because when you're hitting, let's say your lowest number, you're like, oh my gosh, we only hit 30%. It's telling you we have to get way more traffic in here before we hit that time that's going to get really low. Maybe you have your best salesperson is out on like maternity leave. Can we say that in a business setting? Can we mention that people have lives outside of work? I think so. And so you're going to know that's going to happen. Oh my gosh, we're going to lose our best salesperson. We better ramp up more volume to make sure that we all can hit our goals. So tell me that was helpful. But yeah, so that lady is going to improve overall your seasonality as you look back. Some people, same. So Rachel says she has people who reach out 6 months or a year prior and then book services today. So already I'm feeling the need to help in a future toolkit video about how we can remind people why this, and why now. Like there is a reason why they wanted to have this conversation right now. And either they got stuck somewhere in their own, it's not reflective on you, but how you can help them through their own internal struggle. So there's the external that they like respond and they're like, oh, I want this. But then there was something internally. So I have talked about it before when it comes to Chelsea boots. I have a pair of Chelsea boots on. We talked about, maybe been probably over a year ago. We talked about how like I wanted these, but they were going to come in from a Nordstrom box. And I was like, I don't know if we can handle those coming in. I think it was right around Christmas time from a Nordstrom box, along with all the shipments in. Kyle's going to be like, I'm pretty sure this is for you. And I didn't want to have to like face the music, right? So that was an internal struggle that Nordstrom is not going to advertise to me about. They're not going to be like, and now they could say in a carefully planned package, nobody will know what's inside, right? They could have said, but no, it said like ships in original packaging. So that's their warning to all wives or or husbands who spend a lot, whatever. I don't spend a lot. I just was like, well, these might be a little pricey. And I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I was still shopping for them is my point. I didn't know how much I was going to spend. And when it says it comes in original packaging, I'm going to internally think like, wait, is that what I want to do right now? And they're not going to combat that for me, but you one-on-one can actually help somebody through that sort of thing. Figure out what something's coming up and they want to know more about it, but something else is blocking them. And it might not be money, but it's easy for them to tell you money. So sometimes the objection isn't the objection. Does that make sense? Okay. So Rachel says, yeah, she goes, yeah, I'm a slow buyer except for sweets. I'll impulse buy the heck out of a chocolate bar. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love that explanation and that visual. That's so good. So yeah. So like I said, everybody's at a different stage on that funnel. I am somebody who, if you made some radical offer to me, I'm like, I'm going to need 24 to 48 hours. And it's not because I actually I've been talking a lot about disc profiles lately. On that, I'm certainly askew towards the D, and I can make a fast, quick decision. So if I tell somebody that, like a little pump the brakes, it's either one, I got there way too quickly, that I know that I want it. And I know I've matured a little bit and know that I should slow down a little bit and just wait. Also, if it's a really large purchase, it's just good advice. Same thing if I were like offered a contract or a job back in the day when I was doing JOB, right? Those things I would also be like, okay, I got to take the night to sleep on it because, sometimes I can make that fast decision. However, I can also, if I'm telling you that like, okay, I need the day, it might not be because I decided yes. It might be, I thought it was there. I thought this was for me, but I don't see why it is for me. And so that's why I'm encouraging you that you need to remind people why this, why you, and why now. And maybe that's a future. So tell me if that's something you want to see. And so when I tell that to somebody, they don't know which is which. And unless they have a conversation, they can break through on the other side and figure out like, okay, she just hasn't seen like our behind the scenes goodies. That happened recently on something I bought. They got me on a call and she was like, okay, let's talk about this. And what I realized was, I just needed a little bit more information. And then it was an easy yes. So does it make sense? Is this helpful? Kristen tells me it totally makes sense. She's still laughing about the boots. I believe she was on those last call because those boots get out of control. If you just go to Nordstrom's and just look up Chelsea boots at any time, you will see some for $700 and you will see some for what I got, like right around $100. And I was like, I'm pretty proud of that. They're great. They're still going a year later and I love them. And I knew I would, and I knew I'd wear the heck out of them. And so I was trying to justify, I certainly don't need $700 and I don't want $300 pair of shoes. I work from home all the time. My goodness. But I was hoping to find something in that $100 range. So, okay, Kristen, I have a savings for big things and tell myself I can get it on credit. Yeah, she did save 2 years for a car, 1.5 years for a floor. So yeah, you get the long game for sure. But imagine though, if you're out shopping for that car and then all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, you can't have this one. Well, here you are, money in hand. You're going to want to go find it somewhere else. So you might be the speedy shopper to somebody else because it was missing. It happened a lot with our photographers, in the past couple of years. COVID would rear its ugly head and ruin somebody's engagement shoot. That's what I remember specifically one. And so my client called, she's like, oh my gosh, the ads have been on for 2 days. And now I have this really big engagement shoot out at somebody's like ranch and their horse and their stables. And she was so excited that it happened so quickly. And I had to tell her like, whoa, it doesn't always happen that way. What happened? And she said, oh, well, their photographer got COVID. So now I get to jump in and save the day. And I said, okay, that makes more sense that they were a speedy shopper. So you don't always get it, but sometimes they are, they're there and they're waiting for you. So yes, when you're ready, you're ready. Yes. I love it. Yeah. So Kristen was just saying like, good point. When she's ready, she's ready. So like if she had money to burn in her pocket and she's like, oh my gosh, this flooring guy can't do it for us, I bet you would have figured out and found somebody right away. Thank you so much for letting me take up your time today with a tip that might scare you. I know it. I know that metrics can be this like, oh, if I don't look at it, maybe it just gets better on its own. And the truth is, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. But you can keep it simple. You can get the information you want as a business owner to make really good, faster, better decisions in real time. And you can do that and still see some improvement. And why not have something that is constantly giving you a gold star or telling you to reach for the next one? Because if you're here, And I know enough of you, like legit the two that I know that are here right now, but if you're even on the replay, tell me you're on the replay, that's for sure. But if you're here, I know that you are somebody who is a smart cookie that likes to work hard and likes to get it right. That's just who shows up here all the time. And so even if you felt like, well, I'm kind of getting a B plus or I'm only getting a C minus, there's room on that scale to get another star and to go up. So you're only going to know if you actually peek under the hood and look at those numbers. So let me know if you do. Thanks so much. If you have any other questions, I will see you in the comments below. Have a great one. Bye.